Income property management. Get out of our yard.
Tenants fed up with dangerous living conditions.
To go after a corporation is almost like housing suicide.
This is a conspiracy to evict a tenant and who had complained.
A Portland man says he's facing retaliation for speaking up against dangerous living conditions at his low-income apartment complex.
He's fighting back in multi-million-dollar lawsuits that say the president of the management company targeted him for eviction and the housing authority allowed unsafe conditions to happen.
Elise Haas watching out for you, spending months seeking answers from the management company and the housing authority that's in charge of ensuring vulnerable people have a safe place to live.
This Portland man lives here at the Yards Apartments in Portland's Old Town. Home Forward, Multnomah County's taxpayer-funded housing authority, owns this complex, and they hire out a private company called Income Property Management, better known as IPM, and they're supposed to take care of the day-to-day maintenance.
They'd be wielding knives, and one came after me with a bat.
Disabled Navy veteran Brian Jackson says his apartment was plagued with safety, security, and maintenance problems.
Rats, cockroaches, people that don't live there that are coming in off the street and urinating in the stairwells and in the elevators.
Under oath, the IPM property manager at the Yards admitted Jackson's accusations are true.
Were you ever aware of a cockroach issue at the Yards Apartments?
Yes.
Were you ever aware of assaults at the Yards Apartments?
Yes.
Were you ever aware of homeless people openly urinating in a hallway at the Yards Apartments?
Yes.
Income property management. Get out of our yard.
When his initial attempt to get the management company to address the issues failed, Jackson formed a tenants union in 2018. Jackson says that move led to an eviction notice.
I became the problem. You know, which was their solution to that is just get rid of the problem.
According to the notice, IPM says that Jackson violated his lease by misrepresenting himself as an IPM employee to a firefighter when a fire broke out here at the apartments last summer. That's a claim that Jackson says isn't true, so he decided to sue.
And I've spent the last 3.5 years of my life defending myself and having to watch my back with a management company that thinks that they can do anything they want.
Jackson's lawsuit against IPM accuses IPM of retaliating against a union organizer and operating the Yards as a slumlord. Michael Fuller is Jackson's attorney.
I think they underestimated Mr. Jackson. I don't think they understood the power of the tenants union, and I don't think they understood that as a community we're not just going to sit by and let them abuse the poorest among us.
Now, Jackson is also suing the president of IPM, Jeff Reingold, for up to $2.5 million, alleging invasion of privacy and intentional infliction of emotional harm. According to the lawsuit, Reingold organized an illegal conspiracy between his corporation's attorneys and management. Following 5 hours of testimony and hundreds of emails, Jackson's lawyer says he uncovered evidence showing Jeff Reingold had his employee, Angie Henry, try to dig up dirt on Jackson.
So why would you spend your time and why would you hire your attorneys to be looking through old emails of Mr. Jackson that could be considered shady in April of 2019?
I was told to.
By who?
By Jeff Reingold.
In emails I obtained through the court case, Henry writes to Reingold about Brian Jackson just 3 days after our news coverage on tenants protesting against IPM.
Just a flavor of what an this resident is at the Yards. This is the resident that has pretty much single-handedly created the current vitriol at the building and brought in the PTO.
Reingold replied to her via email. During my interview with the leader of Home Forward, Michael Bonacore, I read him parts of that reply.
And it says this: I feel your pain, Angie, but in a funny way, this might help. It seems to me when individual tenants like this overreach, which seems to be the case here, there's a pretty good chance that Tim and Home Forward will take a little bit harsher stance. Thanks for sending, and try not to let this idiot get to you. There will be a resolution of some sort, and we will move on. Jeff, what's your reaction to that?
So I think this potentially touches on litigation, so I think I probably shouldn't comment on it.
Jackson's lawsuit claims IPM's president, Jeff Reingold, is trying to silence and evict him.
And Mr. Jackson was interfering with their income stream, and we've now found out what they're willing to do to somebody who stands in their way.
We wanted to talk to the president of IPM, Jeff Reingold, but he declined our interview because of Jackson's lawsuit. I asked the leader of Home Forward if he felt like IPM was doing a satisfactory job.
We've continued to just work on this issue with IPM and be really clear about where we're trying to get to in the relationship with the residents and with the, the conditions at the building.
Since that interview, Jackson has filed a third lawsuit against both Income Property Management and Home Forward for up to another $2.5 million for allowing unsafe and unsecure conditions to go on the past 2 years. Tenants say after unionizing and going public with their problems, management has made several health, safety, and security improvements, but say they have taken a step back by scaling down private security patrols.
This is about protecting the tenants from any company that thinks it's appropriate to just belittle or barrage low-income tenants to their advantage.
Jackson says he's not about to give up his legal battle.
We started this fight almost 2 years ago, and I see to finish it one way or another. I'm not going to walk away from it.
And Jackson's lawyer says that in the depositions he discovered that the eviction notice was flawed because it included the wrong date of the alleged incident. And ever since then, Jackson says that they have made no further attempts to try and evict him. So Jackson is still at the yards, and he's continuing his fight. In Northwest Portland, Elise Haas, KOIN 6 News.
And you can read much more about this story right now at KOIN.com.
And if you have a news tip for our investigators, email us at investigators@KOIN.com.